Question: what do Bill Gates and Warren Buffett have in common, other than the fact that they're both one of the richest people on the planet? Not sure? Let me give you a hint.
Shortly after I met Bill Gates, Bill's dad asked each of us to write down on a piece of paper one word that would best describe what had helped us the most. Bill and I, without any collaboration at all, each wrote the word focus.
Later on in the video, I'll reveal the 3 most effective ways to focus that took me almost 10 years to learn. But for now, let's examine what brings 2 of the most successful people alive together. Success leaves clues, as the saying goes, so it's no wonder 2 of the most successful people in business are friends. And yet, they seem to be very different at first glance. They come from different generations with a 25-year age gap. Warren has built his empire through investing, while Bill chose software. They seem to be from different worlds altogether. Bill said so himself and was even hesitant to meet Warren in the first place.
So the 2 of us flew out there somewhat reluctantly because, buying and selling stocks, which is how I thought of Warren, wasn't a particular interest to me and didn't seem like value added. It turned out that was completely wrong. We knew that day that we'd be very close friends. In fact, we just couldn't get enough of each other.
Despite their seemingly massive differences, they are best friends. Why is that? What is the one thing that binds them together?
Well, focus has always been a strong part of my personality. If I get interested in something, I get really interested. If I get interested in a new subject, I want to read about it, I want to talk about it, and I want to meet people that are involved in it.
Both Warren and Bill are grand masters of focus. Only through an obsessive level of concentration were they able to build such massive empires. Let me tell you a story that will paint a picture for you. Back in the early Microsoft days, Bill Gates had his radio in the car taken out. Why did he do that, you might think? He was afraid that in the 7-minute drive from his home to work, he wouldn't be thinking about Microsoft. I can agree this might be too overly obsessive, but it illustrates perfectly why he achieved such a monumental success. In his 20s, he completely cut out music and TV from his life in order to focus on his work. All these sacrifices enabled him to achieve a state of massive focus and allowed him to produce deep work. Deep work or flow is a state in which you are the most productive and ideas just seem to come to you effortlessly. We'll cover that concept in a future video. In the 90s, Bill went on what he called thinking vacations. He visited his grandmother who lived in the woods. During this 1 week there, he stayed in a cabin alone. No visitors were allowed except to bring him food twice a day and some Diet Coke. This controlled isolation allowed him the focus and clarity to see the importance of the internet when it first came about, and he bet big on it. This allowed Microsoft to absolutely crush the marketplace and become the behemoth that it is today. If you're anything like me, you're easily distracted by the smallest thing, and sometimes your monkey brain can't stop jumping from one thought to the next. Although this may be hugely beneficial when brainstorming or in general in creative pursuits, it can be a huge detractor if you don't know how to channel it correctly. As the summer approaches and the inevitable 30th birthday is around the corner for me, 15th of July for anybody asking. Earlier in the video I promised to tell you the 3 things about focus that took me almost a decade to learn. Knowledge is one thing, but true wisdom comes through experience. So here are the 3 tried and tested ways to focus that have stood the test of time. Less is more. If you've been on the journey of self-improvement like me for the most of your 20s, you know there's no easy hack or trick. You fall down, learn, and move on. That's life. One thing that I've learned through trial and error is that truly less is more. Most times, if you're trying to level up in life, it's a process of elimination. You have to remove one thing in order to gain another. The same goes for focus. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication, as Leonardo da Vinci said. If you want to achieve a monastic level of focus, you simply have to remove all distractions and focus on the task at hand. Simple, not easy. Schedule time for deep work. Jerry Seinfeld is one of the most successful comedians of all time. According to Forbes magazine, he made $267 million in 1998. 10 years later, in 2008, he was still collecting a whopping $85 million per year for his long-running sitcom Seinfeld. If there's one thing that can be attributed to his success besides his natural talent for comedy, is his consistent practice to write daily. He would schedule a time during the day when he was not allowed to do anything but write. That meant he could write or do nothing but sit there. What happened when I started implementing this is sometimes indeed I did not feel like doing the thing I was supposed to, but I was not allowed to check my phone, browse the internet or anything else. So eventually I got so bored, I would start doing a small task, then another, and before I knew it, I was working on what I was supposed to. Have a reason why. Most often than not, at least for me, running away from something, usually pain, is a greater motivator than the desire to change. Pain could mean being broke, not keeping promises to yourself, or anything that makes your life miserable and can't be avoided. Acting out of desperation rather than inspiration will bring you more results when you're trying to focus. Obviously, Warren Buffett and Bill Gates are not the best examples of this, as they are outliers. By definition, they are an exception to the rule. The gift they had was they both knew what they wanted to do at an early age. They went all out trying to pursue it and got obsessed over it. But for me and the majority of people watching this, running away from pain rather than acting out of inspiration will propel you forward faster. Hope you've enjoyed this and found value in it applicable to your life. If you haven't already, hit the sub button and leave a like if you feel like it. I'll be dropping a video a week, hopefully two, with actionable tips that have been learned the hard way. If you're struggling with focus and attention, you're in the right place. Till next time, stay focused.